Let's discuss this further now with Ovigwe Eguegu. He's a policy advisor at Development Reimagined and joins us now live from Ankara. Thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World. So ECOWAS stands for Economic Community of West African States. Tell me, to what extent do you think ECOWAS's decision on Niger are motivated by economic interests?
Well, if we're being serious, this is hardly economic at all. It's purely political. Of course, you may be aware that there's been a wave of coups in the ECOWAS sub-region, and that has been very troubling for some of the countries, particularly Nigeria. And the Nigerian president did speak just after he became chairman of the ECOWAS that pushes and coup government, or juntas rather, there will be no compromise. But I think when it came to the Niger issue, there was such a huge expectation that the ECOWAS will intervene militarily after August 6th. But I think also because of the public opinion that was against the coup, against the intervention.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I get this right. So you were saying that even though ECOWAS is an economic bloc, they have let go of their economic interests when it comes to resolving the crisis in Niger?
Well, of course, there is an economic dimension to ECOWAS, but ECOWAS has functioned both as an economic and governmental institution, supranational institution, if as it were. And if you look at how they've approached the Niger issue, first of all, for instance, Nigeria has cut off electricity supply, which has put Niger under a lot of sanctions, the bloc as a whole, and that has created a lot of inflationary pressures, in Niger. 40% of Niger's refined petroleum comes from Cote d'Ivoire and Senegal, who are also ECOWAS members. There's a lot of pressure already on the junta. They have the economic power to pressure the junta into a submission, and I think the junta understands that it is very vulnerable to ECOWAS economic sanctions. So even when they are speaking on the issue and rejecting military intervention, they are also suggesting their readiness for negotiation, because the economic pains might flip public opinion against them very soon.
So as things stand right now, what ECOWAS is doing is posturing. Is that correct?
Largely, I mean, if you read the lips on the statements that came out of yesterday's meeting, it was mixed. On one hand, they're activating the standby force. For them to be ready for deployment to intervene in Niger. On the other hand, the president of Nigeria, which is the chairman of ECOWAS, is saying that the bedrock of their intervention is going to be political. So it is really unclear whether ECOWAS wants to intervene or not. And the junta has called their bluff once, and I think they are ready to call it off again.
All right, fascinating insights into the topic. Ovigwe Eguegu, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World. As always, really appreciate your taking out the time.